Hello?
Hey, Carmine, it's Dennis from the Australian Rock Show. How are you?
I'm good. No, let me put my headset on. Hold on.
A wonderful honour to have you on the show today. Look, not enough time to dig into your amazing career, although I will try and focus on a few highlights. And we've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Carmine Appice, who I really love. We've got a lot to cover.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I wish I can get one of her records. I don't have any of her records.
Oh, really? I can
anymore.
sort you out with that.
The one song I want to hear is I Just Fell in Love Again.
Oh, yeah.
From her album that I did. Because really, that just so you know, that was originally was the arrangement that we wrote, that we had for Rod Stewart for Do You Think I'm Sexy? And he didn't want to do that arrangement, so we changed. So we wrote that song for Carmine Appice. I was doing it at the same time. Isn't that funny?
Well, but the purpose of our chat is the just-released single Stop in the Name of Love. I just love the arrangement. But Carmine, having your lifelong friend and bandmate Tim Bogut play on the track before he passed, that was such a rewarding thing to do and ensures his memory will live forever. Well done.
Well, for me, it was a no-brainer, you know, because Tim was sick. We know he had stage 4 cancer, and there was no curing it. And we knew that he was going to end up passing away. So I said to Mark and Vinny, I said, look, we got to get Tim on this track, you know. And, you know, we had done the track. It was going to be the beginning of an album we were going to do called Supreme Fudge. And we started it in December 2019. And by the time we got the arrangement and we started recording it, we got a recording that was decent enough. It was already like December and the holidays were coming. So we got the arrangement, we recorded a version that we liked. And then I said, well, look, I'm going to go to the NAMM show in California. I'll talk to Tim. I'll see if we can get Tim on this, you know. So I did talk. He said, yeah, he would love to do it. So I took the stems, you know, on a hard drive, on a flash drive, and I took it to my buddy who's the bass player for Government Mule, Jorgen Carlson, and we went to his house, and Tim came down with his wife, and he wasn't feeling good. He was really ill, but he said, I'm going to do this because, you know, because I want to be on it. I said, okay. So we walked him through it, and Jorgen had to help him with some of the remembering the bass changes because he had cancer in the brain too, you know, and so it was kind of not good. So anyway, we got him through it, and then we realized that on the track was leakage of the guitar, organ, and the other bass player, Pete, has been with us because he put a bass down just so we had something. Which is nothing like what Tim played. You know, so then I said, well, we're going to leave the bass out. When I sent it to Tim, listen to it, and then when I went to the studio, there was no bass. But Jorgen said, listen to the drums, man. They're destroyed with all these other sounds on it. He said, you're going to have to recut the drums. So I said, oh, man. So, well, let's get Tim on. So we got Tim on. We locked him up with me, the drums that were on there. And then at some point, I'd have to replace the drums. And then, you know, that was like the end of January. And a month later, COVID hit, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that was the end of doing an album, going to the studio. And then we had moved from Connecticut, New York and Connecticut, to Florida. And the plan in the Florida house was to put a studio in, which I'm in now. So I put the studio in. I learned how to work it. I did some projects to learn how to work it. And then I got these old little bass drums that I used to have, you know. And then I had the really good sound that I said, you know what? Now I'm good to tackle that song, you know, Fudge. Because I needed that big old classic sound again, you know. And so I did it. And then we, you know, worked on that. I gave it to my mixer, and we tightened everything up, and we fixed this and fixed that. And there was a couple of things we had to fix. We had to fix the guitar part and do that, you know. So I ended up producing the whole thing. And then when we finished mixing it, then we bounced it to analog and back to digital. Because once you go from digital to analog, it still keeps the analog kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it has that classic sound to it. And that's how we did it. Now if it does really well, then maybe Golden Robot Records will say, well, let's cut an album. But we can't really cut an album because nobody else has a studio except me. Mm. So we'd have to go into a proper studio. And that ain't going to happen anytime soon with all this COVID stuff.
I also wish to make a note of the accompanying video for Stop in the Name of Love. Superbly done, and I think it honours Tim and celebrates the band amazingly well. And I'm sure it evokes many fond memories and, also tears for longtime fans. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And, as soon as we got Tim on there, he sounded like Tim.
Mm.
He played classic Tim licks. Well, they weren't planned. He just played it. That's what we used to do. That's why now, for me personally, I have a problem when I do videos because I play a track and I just play what I feel. And then when I do videos, it's like, I don't know what I played. I got to study what I played to get anything close.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it looks like, like it is. Like I don't know what I'm doing on the video. And that's the truth. I don't know what I'm doing with all these videos,
Listen, just going on from that, I know that as somewhat of a music historian, January 68, Vanilla Fudge perform live on the Ed Sullivan show. And I would like to know, do you think that performance on Ed Sullivan, much like the Beatles some 4 years earlier, helped to gain great exposure for the band?
Totally. It was the whole thing. When we were on the Ed Sullivan show, we sold like 250,000 records the next day.
Wow.
And everybody was raving about the performance because we were so crazy.
Yeah.
When I look at it now, it's, my God, we were like total animals.
Yeah, it's
every
heavy.
One of them. Yeah, so, like I said, the band started the Fudge, and, we were on the charts with all these other guys, and they're all in the Hall of Fame, and we're not.
Yeah.
As we were talking about before. I talked about that with somebody else today.
Yeah, it'll happen. I think it'll happen.
I don't know when. Come on, we already lost Tim Bogert. How much longer can we keep doing it? I'm going to be 75. I hope I last another 20 years, but who the hell knows, When you think about what you did 20 years ago, and then you think about, well, maybe if I only have 20 years left, not very long.
You look like you're in great shape, though. Obviously, you're not in your 20s anymore. And I guess with that in mind, what part of drumming do you find the hardest these days compared to, when you were a younger man? And have you had to alter your drumming style to suit that?
Well, not really. I was a lot faster back then, like single rolls and stuff like that. But, I still can go fast to a point. And, and I use a lot of combinations between the hand and feet. Like my brother is all fast hands. He's 11 years younger than me, So when we go out and play together, like we're doing 4 shows next week, in 2 weeks actually. And, and he plays all fast stuff, and I play more, not as fast. I still got some of the speed, but I'm more showy, I do more of a show than he does, I'm all about show. Gene Krupa was my idol. It was all about the show,
I can recall, Carmine, an Australian drum clinic you did in Sydney, which I attended in 1988. Great afternoon. However, if I'm not mistaken, your first visit down under was in early 77 when Rod Stewart did a massive tour of Australia and New Zealand. The Sydney concert at the time, that set a new attendance record of 32,000 people. I know you've got fond memories of Australia back in 77.
Yeah. Oh, that was the time I got Jeff and Rod back together when we played the 8,000 seat place.
Mm.
I don't know if it was the first time. We were there twice. Were we there
77 and 79.
That's what I thought. I think in 79 we ended up playing. That's when we got him together.
Mm.
We ended up playing an 8,000 seat place, and Jeff played one night at that place. Or 6,000 seat place.
Yeah.
We played there 6 times, and then we played the stadium. and that was a ridiculous amount of people. You know, it was great. I mean, it was awesome. And I think when I did that clinic tour, I set the attendance records for a clinic at that point in time.
Yeah, it was a great afternoon.
And I did it also in Melbourne, and I did it also in New Zealand. In Christ, what's the big city? Auckland.
Auckland.
Auckland. Yeah. And then I went to Japan and I produced Carmine Appice.
Look, you know what? We may as well talk about her now.
Night Stalker.
Well, you wrote you co-wrote and produced, Night Stalker. It's one of my favourite records. Not enough people know about it. You know, yourself on drums, Earl Slick on guitar, Gene Millington from Fanny on bass. That album should have done bigger things.
And we also had Alfonso Johnson on bass in some tracks, And Jim Diamond, who was a Scottish singer, Scottish, I thought, he ended up being, a fairly good name for himself. He wrote all the lyrics and coached her vocally, And we did the record in L.A., and a Japanese company funded everything. And when I went over to Japan, it was all over the place. It was in Burn magazine. I was doing interviews with her, and playing 6 nights at the Budokan with Rod. It was unbelievable. It was an amazing part of my career. That one song, I Just Fell in Love Again, that was the original arrangement that we did with Rod for Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Wow.
It wasn't even a song yet. We put the track down with a few melodies we had. And then when Rod didn't want to do it that way, and he changed it, I said, you know what, this arrangement's too good. Let's write a new song to it. So we wrote that song, I Just Fell in Love Again, and gave it to Maki.
What about, there's also a track there, that the single, It's Only Rock and Roll. A lot of those lyrics, I think, are indicative of your life at that time. Just playing rock and roll, sweating every show, the only thing I know, taking all the plane rides.
That was Jim Diamond's lyrics.
Right.
He was a great rock, and he was a great lyricist, a great singer, And he wrote that stuff because that's what it was like to him too, But the shuffle, it was a shuffle, if I remember. Right. We based it on after Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll, sound of it,
Yeah,
I remember correct.
I have a copy of that. I am gonna get you. I am going to get a copy to you.
If you give me the whole record, that would be amazing. Talking about that album, I'm saying, I'd love to hear some of that stuff. But it's not on the internet.
No, and I think most of her success was aimed at the German market, from memory.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually,
it did really well. I thought it was just aimed in Japan. It did really well in Japan.
Yeah. But the I actually found a copy of that 7-inch. It's Only Rock and Roll and Never on a Monday in Hamburg, believe it or not. So there you go.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Actually, the first time you toured Japan, if I'm not mistaken, was 1973 with Beck, Bogart and Appice. One of the shows at the Budokan, of course, resulted in the Live in Japan album. You've performed at that Budokan many times over the years. Fond memories of that first visit to Japan?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. We got off the plane, it was like the Beatles. And I got off the plane and got out of the airport, and there were fans waiting there, and they were running and grabbing our hair, trying to pull pieces of hair out and stuff. It was unbelievable. And we played the Budokan, and they didn't even have any lights over there. You know what they used for the lights? 3 aircraft lights, 3 on each side, and they're white. It was unbelievable, and then we played Osaka, and then they recorded, and it became a legendary Japanese recording. I think we were the first band, other than the Beatles, to sell out the Budokan, and then I played it so many times. I played it that time, then I went back and played in with Rod, we played 4 nights, that was 5 times, and then we went back and played 6 nights. That was another time. And then I went back with my own tour called Carmine Appice Super Session Volume 1 with Derringer, Tom Peterson, Eric Carmen, myself, Dwayne Hitchens. I think I played there 12 times.
Wow.
At that point in 1982. And then I played there again with this guy named Shaw in '99 with Tim Bogert, Shaw, Bogert, and Appice. We did 12,000 people in Tokyo. 8,000 of it was at the Budokan. So
I don't think. I really don't think listeners and fans outside of Japan know what an influence you've had in that country.
Yeah, to show that is another thing that happened. I went there in '89 with Blue Murder, and in the Bird magazine was an article, the classic rock trios, the historical rock trios. So they showed the Cream, they showed Hendrix, they had BBA, and they had Blue Murder. So I was in two of them. How funny is that?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Look, I'm just going to pick out a couple of highlights before we wrap up. In May of '85, you were part of the Hearing Aid Project Stars. I bought that at the time. The song still kicks ass. From memory, your brother and Frankie Benali did the drumming slots. Good memories of recording that, Carmine, Hearing Aid?
Well, yeah, I know Vinny and Frankie did that. And I was on the road with King Cobra. And when they had, when they were scheduled to get everybody in there to do the singing part, come in and show them all that stuff, I was on the road with King Cobra, so we had to take 2 days off, for me to get there. I think I flew in after one of the shows, and late night flight to LA. And I spent 2 days doing that stuff. And then I had to fly back to where the band was in the Midwest somewhere. And it was so much fun, And I was very surprised to see Mark Stein there, because, everybody there was from heavy metal bands, and I had played with Ozzy, and I played with Nugent, and I played I was playing with King Cobra, and I was in that thing. But Mark Stein, wasn't really doing anything at the time. He was songwriting, and the Vanilla Fudge was his big claim to fame, But there he was. I said, oh, great, But there was everybody there. Everybody. Now, since then, so many people have died.
Yeah.
In that video.
Yeah. Here's one for you. The Danny Spanos album from '83, Passion in the Dark. I don't know why I bought it. Maybe because you played on it. That was another album which could have done bigger things, I thought. Yeah,
I agree. He was a real good singer. And that song I played on, I can't remember the name of it. What was the name of that song?
I don't have the album in front of me at the moment.
Okay, me neither. And that was started as a favor to Spencer Prophet. Because he released my solo album that was on the rest of the world. It was on Warner Brothers on Reva Records, which is Rod's label, and Pasha released it in America, Pasha CBS. So working with Pasha, I went in and I worked with the studio. I made the drum sound happen in Pasha with Dwayne Barron, who I just talked to a couple of nights ago, and we were reminiscing how I changed the whole drum sound in there from a dead LA drum sound to a kick-ass rock sound like I learned to do with Andy Johns from the Rod days, And the first album that they used that drum sound on was Quiet Riot's album that sold 5 million. So I used to punch Frankie balls, about it and say, hey, dude, look at it. You sold 5 million albums on my drum sound, And but we were good friends. So everybody was there. It was a lot of fun, It was great fun. And Danny Spanos, I'm going back to that. Sorry, that's sidetracked. Danny Spanos was an act that Spencer was producing. So he said, hey, do me a favor. Can you play on these tracks? I don't know if it was one or two or all. I can't remember. It was an EP. I didn't remember that. It wasn't a full album. I don't think. Or maybe he developed into a full album. But I played on one or two tracks or 3 tracks. And I did it as a favor to Spencer because he was behind my album. He was bringing me in to work on stuff. We got a deal for Vanilla Fudge. We produced it there. We used my drum sound again. I did a record with Derringer called Derringer and Appice. He produced it. He got a deal for it. So I was working real close with him and Pasha. That's why when we did Hunger, it was a band, Kick-Axe, that he was involved in, that he gave us that song.
Mm. No, it's a great album, and I encourage anyone to to look over these albums which we're talking about. But we had better start to wind things up. We are short on time. I do note that Vanilla Fudge has a handful of live dates throughout the US for October and November. VanillaFudge.com is the place to visit for all the ticketing and meet and greet infos. Apart from the live dates, what do you have in the pipeline for the coming months? You mentioned the Brothers in Drums tour.
Well, yeah, me and Vinny doing 4 shows, starting the 19th to the 26th. And then my daughter's getting married, so I'm going to LA, and then the end of October we have Vanilla Fudge. And on the 24th of September, my album comes out, Energy Overload, with a new video with, a piece for Domo project. It's called, that's the instrumental album. And then in November, I have my Guitar Zeus box set coming out, which I did 3 new tracks, which I have Derek Sherinian playing like a guitar on there, playing a solo, and I got Tommy there from Kiss, and my good buddy from Kodiak, band I'm producing, a young band like Van Halen. He's playing on it. Plus I got new tracks with Bumblefoot, and I got new tracks with John Norum, and that guy Cha from Japan, he's playing on 1 track. So it's going to be 4 LPs, 3 CDs, a Carmine face logo pendant made of silver with a chain with a Guitar Zeus pick on it, interviews with a booklet with interviews with a lot of different guitar players, and a new 8x10 photo with my new image. I stopped dyeing my hair, so I'm a natural black and silver hair now with combed it back. I look like a mafia guy.
That's cool. I'll give all the I'll give all the details for your website and where fans can check that out at the end of the show.
Yeah, my website, my Carmine Appice official on Facebook is a good place too. And then I'm working on a new King Cobra record with Paul Shotino, and we have Johnny Rod, the original bass player, and we got Rowan Robinson from Dio is going to play on it. And I'm talking to Carlos Cavazza from Quiet Riot, the second guitar player. So if we get those 2 guys and the 3 of us, it's going to be a killer album.
That's a classic sound you'll have back. Great. But it's been lovely chatting with you today. Obviously so much we couldn't get to in a short time. We do hope to see you back in Australia in the not too distant future. Before you go, every guest gets to choose a song by an Australian band. What would you like to choose and why?
Oh my God. An Australian band. The only Australian band I know is AC/DC.
You want to go out with that?
Sure. Black is Black. That's the one.
Sure, we'll go out with Back in Black. Lovely to talk with you, Carmine. Stay safe and good luck for the remainder of the year.
Okay, right. Cheers.